It's January 1st, 2023. So today I'm going to do a video about 2022, and namely my pen of the year, or actually my top 5 pens of the year of 2023. And I will end with the pen that I consider my pen of the year from my personal collection. So, I got a few pens. I'm not going to list them all, and some modern and a number of vintage pens, and some I preferred over others, and some I really loved. So anyway, I'm going to go through the pens that I think I really loved, but and I'll end with what I think is my favorite pen of the year. So, in no particular, well, actually, yeah, I'm going to try to do an order here. Yeah, I have them all ordered here. So the first one I'm going to go for is the first pen I bought in 2022, and that is this pen here. It's a TWSBI VAC 700R Iris, and I picked it up at the Bookmark in Charlottetown here, and I use this pen a lot, and I really like this pen. It's a TWSBI. TWSBI makes great products, in my opinion. One of my favorite brands, and this was a limited edition. I don't know if they make it anymore. They did bring this finish out on the 500 AL, I believe, this year, and I thought, it'd be nice. I love fountain pens, and I'm a bit of a collector. I don't have a huge collection or a very important collection in many ways, but I like to collect a few things, and I thought this would be an important pen to have, and I love it. I love the look of the pen. It writes very well. The only thing I really don't care about is the fact that it doesn't post particularly well. It is a huge pen. When you post it, it's very back heavy. It writes very well. It's it's what it is. It's it's a big honking pen. Maybe it's the biggest pen I have. I don't know. So yeah, the TWSBI, and right at the moment I have writer's blood, and that is one of my favorite inks, actually. I believe it has a medium nib in it. I can't remember exactly. But yeah, so that is on my top 5 list of pens of the year. So I'll put that aside. Now, the second pen I got is one that I consider, if you're collecting fountain pens, and actually I think a lot of people would probably agree with me, if you're into trying to put a nice little collection together, there are certain pens that you should have in your collection, or I suggest you try to get, because they're iconic, and I don't think there's that many people that are going to argue with this. They might argue with my placement of it in my collection, but what I consider one of the most iconic pens, that's the Shaffer Snorkel. And I recently got this year, and it was essentially gifted to me by a friend, and I needed to do a bit of work on it, but other than that, it was in good shape. It's an old pen, remarkably well-made pen. At first glance, you might think, oh, that's just a black and gold pen, small, nothing special. Why do you love this pen so much? Well, the filling system in it, I can't show you right now because it's full of ink and I don't want to splatter ink all over myself. And also the nib. The nib on this here Shaffer Snorkel is the Triumph nib. And I consider that one of the most beautiful nibs ever made. And it's kind of a conical shape, wraps around the section of the pen, two-toned gold nib. A very interesting, slightly upturned tipping, almost looks like a Fude nib in some ways. It's called a snorkel because there is a snorkel that when you're filling it extends beyond the tip of the nib, and then it draws ink into it as almost like a straw. So if you're fountain pen fan, you're very familiar, and a vintage fountain pen fan, you're probably very familiar with the Snorkel. And if you have one, I'm sure you're considering yourself lucky. Or if you're into fountain pens, vintage fountain pens, and you're putting a collection together, I'm sure the Shaffer Snorkel is on your list of pens you would like to get. And I'm very happy with this pen, and I was very lucky to get it. And it's impressive just how well made it was and how durable it was. Totally amazing pen. So that's number 2 on my list of pens this year. My third pen would be this here pen here. And this is the Pelican 12 Silvexa. I got this actually in essentially a junk lot on eBay, and it needed some work. I had to do some work on the nib to put it in order, and I would say it's far from perfect, but I love this pen. It's a beautiful pen, and it's on my top 5 list of pens this year. And so this is from the early 60s. It's in excellent shape, except for a little bit of, there's a piece missing on the finial up here, and there's a little bit of gold plating rubbed off. And like I said, I had to do some work on the nib, get the tines realigned, but it writes beautifully. It's probably, I would say it would be almost a broad nib in this pen. It's a very wet pen. It's smooth. It writes beautifully, even though when I got it, I would say the nib was fairly badly damaged. Anyway, but with a little work and a little luck and a little bit of research online, I was able to get the tines lined up, and now it's working beautifully. Lovely, lovely pen. So that would be number 3. Now, the oddest pen in my top 5 collection is, of course, and it's another pen that if you're collecting pens or into fountain pens, you're probably very familiar, and that is the Platinum Preppy. Now, why is the Platinum Preppy on the top 5 list of my favorite pens of 2022? Well, it's an extremely well-made pen, like extremely well-made. And it's one of those pens you can eyedropper. And in my case, because if you look here, you can see I've filled it with a shimmering ink, and the metallic the metallic parts of the pigment, they do settle to the barrel, but you roll it around and slosh it around when you're about to write, and they sort of go back into the ink, and you get this beautiful little pen. I eyedroppered this, and even though it's a shimmering ink, and sometimes I worry about using shimmering inks in more expensive pens, this has never clogged. And I could leave it capped for weeks. I could probably leave it capped for a year. And because of the slip and seal cap of the Preppy, it's always going to write, even with a highly shimmering ink in it. And it so for like $7, you get this. You get an amazingly made pen, really. And I love how, I love how you're able to take these pens, put an O-ring on it, put some silicone grease on it, and you're able to fill the barrel with pretty much whatever color you want. And I'm probably going to pick up a couple more of these because I have some other shimmering inks that I would really like to use more, and I'm going to eyedropper them, and I'm going to put, say, Roaring Patina Black in it and a couple other ones that I have, and use that. Right now it has a J. Hibon ink in it. And even though it's a shimmering ink, it's not clogged the feed, it's not clogged the nib, and I don't worry about it. And that's a great thing in my opinion. So I put the medium on it, and or I picked up a medium Preppy, and it has to go on my top 5 list of pens of the year. And so that leads me to the pen of the year. What is it? What's the pen of the year? Well, the pen of the year, of course, and you probably guessed this, is my Pilot Custom 74. Now, I love this pen. And I probably love it because I was, when I ordered it from Pensachi in Japan, and they have different finishes than you can get in North America. And I wanted a black and gold. In North America, they seem to mostly be transparent pens that they have. And I like those, but I wanted a classic looking pen. I thought long and hard. There were a couple other colors that I quite liked, but I wanted the black and gold. And the other reason I ordered it from Japan was it had an extensive list of nibs that you could order. And, from fine hards up to double broads, music nibs. But I went with a soft medium. And I've never regretted getting a soft medium on this nib. It's such a beautiful, smooth, not it's such a beautiful smooth nib. It always works, and it just glides across the page, but it's not so smooth that it feels like you're writing on glass. It's a perfectly delightful pen, and it's also one of those pens that if you're into fountain pens and you're trying to put a little collection together, it would be one of the pens that you would have in your collection, I think. There's certain ones that, I think are iconic. And this is one of them. Like, it's one of the pens that you need to have. So anyway, there are a few other pens in my collection that aren't on this list because I didn't get them this year, and next year my list will be different. So this year my pen of the year is, this year my pen of the year for 2022 is the Pilot Custom 74 with a soft medium nib. And next year, who knows what the list will be. That's the fun of being into fountain pens. Anyway, it's raining really hard on PEI right now, and I hope wherever you are, you're having a great New Year's Day. I'm looking forward to 2023. I hope it's a better year than 2022. I hope everyone is looking forward to the year and making the best of it as best we can. And I'll talk to you soon. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. And in the comments, let me know what your pen of the year is. What pen did you get this in 2022 that you consider your best pen of the year? And I look forward to hearing those comments, and I'll talk to you soon. But thank you very much. Bye-bye.